now available on e-readers everywhere. From the author of the Simp Trilogy, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. Manginas, they look like men, but they act like ladies. And the misadventures of Captain Save-A-Ho comes, Stop Simping in the Workplace. Learn what mistakes not to make with women and protect your job with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available on e-readers everywhere. As I was watching The Bachelorette this Monday night, I had to ask myself a hard, critical question. Why were these Afro-American Negro males on this show? And the reason why I had to ask the question of why were these Afro-American Negro males on this show was because these were supposed to be the cream of the crop brothers. The single, successful, well-educated, professional black men. The women every black woman says she wants to get with. The prize of all prizes. And if these black men were supposed to be the prize of all prizes, then why were they lowering their value by going on this reality show to pander for the attention and the affection of this black female? Because when these guys went on this show, they pretty much showed the world how little self-esteem these guys had, how little self-worth these guys had, and how they just did not understand their value as men. Now, when I look at those single, successful, well-educated black men on The Bachelorette, all I saw was a pool of simps. And all these simps were doing were lowering their value as men in the hopes of getting the attention and the affection of a black female who pretty much could give less than a crap about these guys. Now, these guys had a lot to offer, and they brought a lot to the table as black men. And if these guys had understood their value as men, had some self-esteem about themselves, and had some self-worth, they would understand they don't even need to be on a show like this. With women outnumbering men in society 4-1, these guys could pretty much get any woman they wanted by just going outside every day. Because men who have a strong sense of self-esteem, a strong sense of self-worth, and understand their value as men, they're not going to bother dealing with being on a show like The Bachelorette. They understand that opportunities at romance are available everywhere, and they don't have to pander because they have a lot to offer. Men who understand their value understand that it's them who have the power and they have the choice, because they are the ones who are going to be the ones who, in sooner or later, are going to have to make the marriage proposal. So they can pretty much listen to all these females and see what they bring to the table in terms of value and character, and they can decide who they want to choose if they want to choose someone to be their wife. They don't have to sit down and go down to a submissive position like these Negro males did on The Bachelorette. Because what those Negro males on The Bachelorette were doing was simping, plain and simple. All that was a bunch of simps pretty much begging and pleading behind a female, lowering their own value while overinflating this female's ego. And that was what was really sad about watching these Afro-American Negro males on The Bachelorette. They pretty much lowered their value as men, pretty much telling the world that a single successful black man pretty much does not have the confidence or the self-esteem or the self-worth to stand up and be a man. And what's even sadder about watching that Bachelorette on ABC was seeing how much power these guys gave away and how little critical thinking skills these guys had. Because in addition to that pool of so-called single, successful, well-educated black men was a pool of white men. And as I look at that show, this pretty much was a done deal before the first frame of that reality show was even shot. Because when you give the spellbound Afro-American Negro female power, she is not going to choose the single, successful, well-educated black male. She is going to choose the white male. And that's pretty much was evident from the first, before even the first frame was shot. She looked at that pool of single, successful, well-educated Afro-American Negro males, and as she looked at them, she pretty much saw them as a bunch of jobbers. She looked at them in the same way any pro wrestler who was over and a top carder would look at someone like Coco Beware, Special Delivery Jones, and George Wells. A bunch of jobbers who were just hired to pretty much get beat up on and so that they can look good with. And that's all they saw these Afro-American Negro males as, a bunch of jobbers. And that's how they're going to be treated on this show. And that's what's really sad about this show. You're going to see the so-called cream of the crop black men pretty much used as jobbers, pretty much set there for the next couple of weeks to be sent out and eliminated. Because as it comes down to relationships and this Afro-American Negro female, she will always choose the white male if that is her option. And we saw that with the elimination. She pretty much sent the Asian male packing because she pretty much doesn't have to settle for imitations or substitutions in this case. And then she eliminated this well-educated professional black male who said he brought his $6,000 suits and designer clothes there to show out. And then after he got eliminated, he got all emotional about it. But there was nothing to get emotional about. Any guy with critical thinking skills who understands this Afro-American Negro female would understand no chance. That's what these Negroes got. Because if the black female has to choose between this Afro-American Negro female and her God, she's going to choose her God every time. And the reason why she's going to choose her God every time is because, according to this Bachelorette, this is like being in heaven. This is her being in the presence of her God. And she's got a whole host of gods to be around. So this is pretty much paradise for her. For her, this is pretty much heaven, and she sees these Afro-American Negro males as cannon fodder to pretty much send out and eliminate over the next couple of weeks just to make it entertaining. These guys pretty much, they had no chance from minute one, but they're thinking they actually have a shot at her, and that's what pretty much lowers the value of black men on a national stage. Just seeing these guys go out here and actually think they can actually court this female and they're going to win, when there is no chance of these Negro men ever winning this Bachelorette. When I look at those group of males, I often think not only of Vince McMahon's entrance music, but I also think of Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat, when he pretty much said, when you choose your destiny, you will never win. Because when it comes down to this Afro-American Negro males on this Bachelorette, they will never win. And what's really sad about this whole Bachelorette thing is that this is being done on a national stage, and it pretty much proves to the world how much this Afro-American Negro female deifies white men, worships white men, and pretty much will choose a white man if given the option. This is pretty much almost like that doll test from many years ago, and it's really sad to see it on display, because here we have your Afro-American Negro female, and now when she's been given the power, she's going to prove to the world that she believes that white is better than black. And the saddest part is that as it relates to this show, is that we have this group of black men who are completely clueless to their own value and their own worth. Because again, if these guys had any sort of self-esteem, self-worth, or self-value, or value themselves as men, they wouldn't even bother being on this show. Because a single, successful, well-educated brother can go out here and get any woman he wants at any time, and he would understand that being on a show like this, again, lowers his value and makes him look like a complete joke to the world. When I look at that group of Negroes on The Bachelorette, all I can say is, no chance. That's what you Negroes got.